So here is the geodesic greenhouse. We have about 3 layers of cardboard down, wrapped on top of each other so no air can go through. And I now have some manure on the top, some straw mixed with some manure on the top to hold it down. I'm gonna go get some more cleaned out, and we will get this put to bed here pretty quick. I think I'm gonna plant some things, but I'm gonna put them into my boxes so that I can give just another layer of weed protection and water, and water retention, and you guys will see how I do that here in a bit. Okay, so this is our buck barn and our winter barn. When we were having a hard time getting Dragon to not break ropes, this is where we kept him. I have enlarged it because we're going to have 4 goats in here, 2 babies and 2 mamas. And the reason it's not bigger is that we have enough snow in the area that they're going to stay pretty close to this shelter. This leaves them enough space to get out and play, but not enough space that they're out and getting cold. And it's plenty of space for 4 goats in the winter. In the summer, that would be a totally different story. The other reason is I want to keep the manure and the straw concentrated. As more bedding is put in and they are pooping, I want to hold on to that. The renter will be doing hotbeds. I'm doing hotbeds. We need the manure, we need the straw, we want to conserve it, and that's how it works. If they have hay that they don't eat up very well, we use that as bedding, and we do not put the feed into their pen. We put it into their feeder on the other side so they're not stepping on it, so they're not pooping on it. Goats do not like dirty hay at all. They won't eat it. So I'm going to go ahead and get some more of this. Again, we're doing a lasagna garden inside the geodesic greenhouse. I wish I could get Bogdan to answer. I'm wishing I could get these little couplings for you guys because it was so easy to put together, so simple. I'm trying to get a hold of him. We'll see if we can. Hi, Kitty. Okay, so I had a lot of feed that got moldy over the winter, grass hay mixed with a little bit of alfalfa. It's not the best hay to use in a bed situation. I prefer 100% alfalfa because it doesn't have weeds in it and it's high nitrogen. But this is what I have. If you're going to use straw, it needs to be moldy. The mold seems to take the herbicides and pesticides out of the straw. If it's nice, bright, shiny straw, you bring in all those pesticides in, and I kind of almost recommend don't use straw. And also, if you get Roundup Ready hay, a lot of times it has been sprayed too. So kind of take your chances there. So I'm going to go ahead and put some straw down inside here. You may ask, why am I doing all these raised beds? Why am I putting all this effort into composting in place? Why am I doing that? The reason is that our property doesn't actually have dirt on it. It doesn't have soil. It's rocks with a little bit of silt in between the rocks. And so I can't get a rototiller through this. I can't plant anything in this. It's too dry. It's too rocky. And so what I'm doing is creating soil on top of the rocks. And it's worked every time I've done it. It works really well. I have some trees up front that are planted on top of gravel, and we did manure and straw and a little bit of soil around the roots, and they're flourishing. So I love this system if you don't have good dirt. And the other thing is, if you are disabled, if you are physically degenerative in any way, it's really nice to have a raised bed, one that is right up to the level of your working area. I love that in the greenhouse, and I'm going to have raised beds that come around the geodesic greenhouse. That's my plan anyway. We'll see if we'll get to it. So I have 3 different ways that I'm doing it. We're doing hotbeds, we're doing lasagna garden, and we're also doing some very raised beds that are actually hugelkulturs inside a frame. If you guys are curious about how I learned how to do lasagna gardening and raised bed gardening, I'm going to list, hi Kitty, you're helping so much with the wobbly camera. I have those books in the description below. They are an Amazon code. It doesn't change how much you pay, but it does tell them that I sent you, and so I get a little bit back from that. I have, but mostly it's hotbed books, raised bed books, and the lasagna gardening book. So it should be 3 books below. Make sure to go check it out, and we'll talk to you later.
Mom?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one question on video.
Yeah.
Well, what can wool do when you're planting plants?
It holds the water in.
There's your answer, guys.
Yep, there's your answer, guys. So I know this looks really weird, but this is about 2 fleeces. They're dirty fleeces. They have a lot of vegetable matter in them. Getting all of that out is going to be impossible. So instead, I'm going to use it as the water absorbing layer of my hotbed. So the rest of the hotbed is old bedding from the goats and wood mulch, and old bedding from the goats and wood mulch, and then the top about 8 inches is just logs, like hugelkultur old lumber. And now here on the top is going to be wool. I'm going to put my peat moss right on top of the wool. The reason for that is that the wool will retain moisture like nobody's business, and it will eventually decompose and become growing medium too. But I'm super excited to have this much wool to put onto it. So I'll go ahead and show you, and hopefully it's kind of overcast today, so I have no idea what my lighting looks like on this.
Mom?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one question on video.
Yeah.
Well, what can wool do when you're planting plants?
It holds the water in.
There's your answer, guys.
Yep, there's your answer, guys. So I know this looks really weird, but this is about 2 fleeces. They're dirty fleeces. They have a lot of vegetable matter in them. Getting all of that out is going to be impossible. So instead, I'm going to use it as the water absorbing layer of my hotbed. So the rest of the hotbed is old bedding from the goats and wood mulch, and old bedding from the goats and wood mulch, and then the top about 8 inches is just logs, like hugelkultur old lumber. And now here on the top is going to be wool. I'm going to put my peat moss right on top of the wool. The reason for that is that the wool will retain moisture like nobody's business, and it will eventually decompose and become growing medium too. But I'm super excited to have this much wool to put onto it. So I'll go ahead and show you, and hopefully it's kind of overcast today, so I have no idea what my lighting looks like on this. As I water it in, the bed will sink and start to heat up. I don't want it to blow away in the wind. Did they?
I got you. That's how big. Oh, even bigger. Right.
Paige, and you should go take that water bucket to Chamomile and Chai and see if they want any. I want to be sure that they have enough dirt before I transplant them. If I transplant them and they don't have enough dirt, then all the rabbit manure and everything will damage the roots. So I poured dirt into the hole. going to plant it deeply.
Now, you have to make sure to plant it deeply, but not too deep, or else it'll make it so that it's hard for the plant to breathe.
Correct. So, this was a tatsoi little seedling that came in accidentally.
Well, for this wall page and we made it on.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, this. Can you show them this part of wool? Okay. This is the kind of wool that I like to cut because it's my kind of color.
Yeah.
And I like to take it out of places where it's not used, so I discard it.
Okay, hop down, Squirt,
Why?
because I need to get to that corner and your butt's in the way. If you want to go sit on the stool, you can.
What stool?
The one right there. The bed is really, really warm.
Which is kind of good.
Yeah, it's good. Keep the tomatoes nice and warm. So I have this little tomato in here, and I cannot get the legs of the tomato cage in. All of this underneath the mulch. I've got about 6 inches of mulch on the top, but after you get past that 6 inches, you hit rocks. Nothing but rocks. And so I'm a little concerned about my ability to support that tomato, to support the wall of water I'm about to put over it. We'll try something with a little bit smaller gauge wire. See if that helps. I don't think that's going to help. You get down to the actual dirt. And you can't get past it. Good morning. One of the geese isn't as smart as the others, I guess, and they get stuck. Muscovies are really, really quiet. You'll never hear them. Indian runners and khaki Campbells are pretty noisy. If I were to have incognito meat and egg production in the city, I would keep Muscovies. Eventually, they won't make that early morning noise. These guys have only been here since yesterday morning, and they're scared. So within about a week, they won't be making this kind of morning noise anymore.